listening to the Freedom Army Radio.
Welcome back to another episode of the Writers Guild. I'm your host, Captain Manimal, and today's article comes from none other than moi. I wrote it August 26, 2024, and titled it, Money! What is it? Where did it come from? Where is it going? So let's dig into these questions. See if we can get to the bottom of this phenomenon known as lame pay syndrome. Have you ever experienced lame pay syndrome? You know, it's where you work hard all week only to receive your paycheck and feel a growing sense of disappointment that lingers for days to weeks. Am I right? Have you experienced this? You know what I'm talking about. This disease has infected human society for millennia. The earliest known case was thought to be around Mesopotamia in 6000 BCE. Back in those days, they used the barter and trade system. However, people were still getting ripped off in the quality of product they were being paid in return for their good or service provided. This is one reason that led to the creation of money, so products can be sold at different qualities or at different prices. It did not take long for evil roots to dig deep into every financial institution. With the invention of credit and interest, labor and craftsmanship were no longer the only means to possible profit. Rich men in nice clothes could now generate a handsome profit without needing labor, jobs, or products at all. The mighty Athens nearly came crashing down at its height in the 6th century BCE, when the growing divide between the rich and the poor reached a climax. Tensions burned hot. So hot, many thought that civil war was inevitable. A civilization once believed to be the epicenter of reason and critical thought was now a wasteland for vultures to prey upon the weak. Drastic times required drastic measures, as the desperate city turned to one man to solve the crisis. And that man was Solon the Wise. Several immediate interventions took place in an attempt to salvage the declining empire. Some include the cancellation of debt and debt slavery, redistribution of land, regulation of trade and industry, reorganization of the political structure, and the creation of a committee to oversee that ethical financial interactions were upheld within the nation. Solon's intervention during the credit crisis was a turning point in Athenian history. His reforms alleviated the immediate social and economic pressures, prevented civil strife, and laid the foundations for the eventual development of democracy in Athens. While not all of his reforms were immediately popular, their long-term impact was profound, helping to create a more stable, equitable, and prosperous society. Unfortunately, Solon lived a long time ago, and things have changed. As they say, history repeats. America, the land of opportunity, the land of the free, and the home of the brave, was reduced to rubble in 1929. Just a year prior, life in America was hailed as a decade of affluence, the roaring 20s. What could cause such grave, drastic events in the greatest nation in the world? Was it a labor shortage? Was it a real bad drought? Was it foreign invaders? Who is the culprit here to blame these crimes on, if not the Russians or the Chinese? This was a case of domestic abuse. America had failed to learn from Solon's wisdom. They allowed their financial system to be taken over by a den of vipers. Like a pyramid scheme, all the money flowed to the top until it came all crashing down. Overinflated asset prices and low interest rates created a cesspool of financial destruction, which led to war. World War II was the economic engine that drove America to prosperity, eventually, not because they printed more money for speculative means, but because they built factories and started producing their own products, which eventually led to the automotive industry and America's greatest industrial asset, petroleum. You can't control the world and pay your soldiers at the same time without dominating the world's most useful commodity, oil. This kind of gunboat diplomacy debilitates many foreign countries' comparative advantage, which forces their currency to hyperinflate. Example: Venezuela. Nowadays, every other country strives and fails to keep up with the almighty dollar, which is backed by absolutely nothing. Despite the fact that the world believes the US dollar is worth its weight in gold, it is in fact worth less. In fact, it is simply worthless. See what I did there? So at the end of the day, what is money really all about? Is it there to provide a medium of exchange so that everyone's economic demands are met? Or is it there to facilitate a healthy and robust economy within every local community? Or is it there to ensure safe and just financial practices for all? Is it the bedrock of a free market? No. No, it has turned into a tool of oppression. No longer does it simply oppress the slave class, but instead the entire world is hanging in the grip of financial tyranny. Capitalism has eroded the values of democracy once again by putting the power of money out of the hands of the people and instead into the hands of a few malicious bank snakes. Also, snakes don't have hands, so trust me, they don't handle it well. Imagine a world where money is the lifeblood of our evolution, not a tool for control and manipulation. Solon imagined that kind of world and crafted it within his lifetime. Not only did scholars and scribes record these events as lessons for future generations to learn, but Solon himself left us reminders crafted in ink. This is one of his pieces that he wrote, a poem, if you will. Keep justice in your hearts, and speak the truth. For those who act with justice, the divine keeps watchful eye upon their every step. And those who harbor wrong or speak deceit will find their due in sorrow and regret. I gave the people freedom, not excess, and kept them from enslavement, but with care, for I had granted more, they'd grow too bold. And had I given less, they'd cry for more. I set the boundaries, fair and clearly marked, so none could claim they had been wronged by me. The laws I wrote with balance firm and fair, for rich and poor alike I did not swerve. The middle path I walked, with neither greed nor fear, but just resolve to keep the peace. Thus I gave Athens all she needed then, and brought her justice, honor, and repose. That's all, folks. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Writers Guild. I am your host, as usual, Captain Manimal. It's been a pleasure. Take care. And don't forget, always stay true, strong, and free. Good night.